How's it going, guys and girls? This is Mustard here, bringing you a kind of video that we haven't done on this channel in quite some time. For those of you that watched Final Round over the weekend, you will know that Noble's Dragon, a longtime MKX player, finally managed to not only conquer his tournament demon in Sonicfox, he also managed to win his first major event, taking down some of the very best players in the world to do so. And I have him here with me right now. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am not too bad. This is something we've been looking forward to getting in for quite some time. And before we start this, I want to say thanks to Dragon for doing this, for taking the time to sit down with me. Going to ask some questions that hopefully those of you at home would have in mind. You know, when you see players like this do these big achievements. So I have 5 questions in total, and hopefully we can go into some detail on each one. But first things first, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing great. Just got home from final round a couple days ago. I was kind of tired the past couple days, but I'm feeling great now. I mean, it's kind of all just sinking in. You know, I finally beat Sonic at the last tournament. So
When reality comes back and the sleeping pattern has finally fixed itself.
exactly. Then kind of feeling good. I'm feeling good.
All right, well, I'm happy to hear that. So the first question I have for you is the big one, I think, conquering your tournament demon. How do you feel to have finally bested Sonicfox in a major tournament setting? Because for those of you watching at home, this isn't the first time that Dragon's beaten Sonicfox in tournament. In the Combat Cup online, not too long before this event, Dragon was able to beat Sonicfox there as well. Obviously, that's not a major tournament setting, so there was still words up in the air about how much weight that held. But it was good for the mental barrier, I suppose. But now you've done it in an actual major tournament. How does it feel to have finally crossed that barrier?
Yes, it feels honestly amazing. Like from 2 years back to my first tournament, Summer Jam, where no one really knew me, and I actually, funny enough, I had Sonic Fox in my pool at the first tournament, and he pretty much mocked me, and I think that was first to 2 back then. So yeah, I didn't get any rounds. It was pretty much like flawless, like every single round. So it was pretty bad, and just to come from that all the way to here being the last big, at least US tournament, and to finally beat him, it's just an amazing feeling. But like you said, I think the online aspect of me beating him in the Combat Cup actually did kind of relieve a little bit of the mental block that I had against him, which kind of helped me in final round in a weird sense. So, it was online, which didn't count as much, but it definitely helped quite a bit.
Well, that's not a huge surprise. It's been a crazy journey, I think, for you when it comes to Sonicfox specifically, because you've beaten some of the absolute very best players in the world in many tournaments leading up to this. Obviously, you've beaten Foxy Grandpa before. You beat Scar in the same tournament. You've beaten some of the absolute best players, but it was just this one opponent that you couldn't quite seem to really overcome on the day.
Yeah.
So now you've managed it. Do you think this is going to really help your confidence moving into Injustice 2 or perhaps even Combo Breaker?
Yeah, definitely. No, I think it will. I'm already a confident player, so beating Sonic just, helped it even more. I feel like my confidence against any player was, I always thought that I was gonna win, before going into it, or I always had, that confidence going into it. But whenever I played Sonic, like I feel it was sort of a fake confidence where, like I said, like I was gonna win, blah 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 blah. But in reality, in my mind, I was like, God, I have to face him again. I don't know if I can do this, blah blah blah. And I don't know, something just hit me where I felt like I could do it, and that was during that online tournament. And after that, then I kind of, I just didn't even think about it. It's like, okay, I gotta fight Sonic, all right, that's fine. So face him at final round, and that's what happened.
So that brings me on to my next question, actually. Speaking of like your mental game and your composure, I suppose. You started out, to most of us in the community, I suppose, we kind of came to know you through your online play, specifically your ranked play. Some in the community did describe you as like a ranked match online warrior early on in the game. So you've had a
Yeah.
journey from an online ranked player to one of the best in the world. is there anything specifically that you will credit that huge leap from? Because that's about as from zero to hero as it gets, right? From someone that just played online a lot to actually one of the very best players there is going.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, I was pretty much a ranked online warrior with Ermac. I remember playing you and Ketchup
I
actually.
actually remember, yeah, back
Yeah,
like on almost like the first month when I was like learning Commando, I was like, "Hey, does
yeah,
anyone in the chat wanna give me a first to 10 so I can learn my Commando?" And it was actually you back in the Dragon Warrior days, right?
yeah. Dragon Warrior XI. Those were the days. Yeah, but it's true. Like I started from all the way then. I didn't know anything really about fighting games. I mean, I kind of did. I played Soul Calibur in the beginning. No one really knows that. I played that for a couple years. Soul Calibur 4 actually. Played that for quite a long time, but I wasn't any good at it. But basically, yeah, this was my first competitive fighting game. I didn't know frame data. I didn't know anything about high level, games. I didn't know anything about money games, any of that stuff. And I think a lot of it attributes to just I have a lot of determination and ambition going into whatever I want to do. So if I, want something and I want it enough, I'm going to get it no matter what. That's just who I am. And I did everything that I could to get better. I played in online tournaments. I tried to play players who were better than me. I asked questions to people who knew, more than I did and who were successful or who
Actually,
have
while you're on the topic of that, sorry to interrupt,
uh-huh.
but that's one thing I
No,
wanted
go
to
ahead.
point out. I remember specifically early on in the game's life, you were always in almost like every stream chat of everyone that would stream at the time, or anyone that you knew was like almost like a successful player in tournaments or had history with the game, and you were always there, saying,
Yeah,
"Can we have some matches? Can we have some games?" And after it, there would always be a follow-up message with, regardless how the set went, what am I doing wrong? What can I do to improve? Do you have any tips? And those messages always followed from you playing. So that's kind of the answer I was expecting to get, unless there's anything you wanted to add.
exactly. Yes, yes, no, that's 100% true. I mean, and people always ask me, how do you, get better at the game? And it's all the things that I just said, and also everything always leads to just practice. Just playing as much as you can, and just also playing for fun is a big thing, and just trying to get better is really it.
Right, awesome. So, one important thing that I definitely wanted to ask you was character choice. I know that MKX has, like a lot of other NetherRealm games, has gone through a lot of different patches since day one that really have kind of shifted the meta around quite substantially. And even though the game is in quite a very stable and very steady state at the moment, you have played a lot of different characters from launch to now. Like, just to name a few, obviously you said you started off with Ermac, you're a big advocate of Tanya, Alien, Shinnok, Kitana, and I'm sure there are ones that I've not even mentioned. So the fact that you now seem to have settled on Kitana and Shinnok, I think, is that fair to say for now?
Yes, yes,
What dictates which of those two characters you play? Because it will seem like you'll play Kitana for a lot of different matches, but then in top 8 for final round, for example, you seem to go basically all Shinnok for the most part. So what
definitely.
dictates which character you'll be using when it comes to crunch time?
Yeah, well, it definitely depends on the matchup. Basically, those two characters, all variations of each character. I play all variations of Katana, and then I play Imposter and Bone Shaper Shinnok. Necromancer, there's no point in even playing that, in my opinion. But, yeah, I usually play depending on the matchup. So with Katana, I play her in pretty much every single matchup in the game besides about like 6 or 7, I think. And those 6 or 7 I'll play Shinnok for, usually Imposter. But the reason why people usually see me play Shinnok rather than Katana is because the popular characters like Smoke, Tribor, or Smoke, Sector, um I can't. I'm drawing a blank right now. But usually the popular
No worries, no
character
worries.
is the matchups that I play Shinnok for. He usually does better, so that's why you'll mainly see me play Shinnok.
Okay, that's fair enough. I guess that makes sense, right? Very standard thing that the very because that's actually one thing I'm happy you brought up because it's not just the characters, right? It's how many variations of each character do you play, and I have seen you play, like you said, all of Katana, the two main ones of Shinnok. So that's not really a big surprise, but Very, very good info to have. Which kind of leads me on to my next question, which is actually about Injustice 2. Is it fair to say you're going to be going in very hard on Injustice 2 from day one?
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
That sounds a bit
that
obvious, right?
yeah, definitely.
Right.
For sure.
So with Injustice 2, I know you were one of the players that were fortunate enough to get your hands on the beta for quite some time. And albeit there were not too many characters to play as, do you have like an archetype or something in a character you're looking for, or are you basically just going to start with, which I suppose is the way a lot of people will, just go with the character you like the look of, or you think will play well, or is there like a specific kind of game plan that you're looking for in a character in Injustice 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think my playstyle is pretty much I do best when I play rushdown characters. Now, the reason why I play Katana and MKX, she's mainly a zoner, but I don't know. I think I play her because I don't know. I just like her finesse. I just like the way she looks, the way she goes about herself, really. But I feel like if I had more of a rushdown type of character, like Imposter, I would say he's not really rushdown. He's kind of like space control sort of, but he's more on that rushdown aspect, and I feel like I do better with him. So for Injustice 2, I definitely want to try to find a good rushdown character for me. But I'm definitely going to play characters who I like. Like for example, I'm interested in a whole bunch of characters: Poison Ivy, Doctor Fate, Catwoman, Wonder Woman. Like they all look amazing. They all look awesome. I want to play them. But for me, what I do is I want to play characters that I like, but I also want them to be good. So for example, if I play Poison Ivy, she could be fun, but she might not be that great. So I'll just play her casually, and then I'll pick up another character that I like that is actually good. So I need those two things to be able to play them in tournament. That's just how I go about it.
Well, I feel like that's very much like a strong mindset to have with a competitive fighting game. Because one thing that the NetherRealm community has had for, well, I guess since day one, or well, this isn't even really a NetherRealm community specific thing, more just a general fighting game thing. But obviously, character loyalists, character loyalty, which
Yeah.
is commendable, but can obviously hold you back. And the fact that you've swapped from so many different characters in MKX, depending on what you need from the job. I know early on there was kind of I don't want to say stigma, but I think even you yourself would admit that you kind of felt like you favored like Wrecker style characters with that kind of rushdown. But the
Yes, for
fact that
sure.
you're now playing characters that don't have that game style, and you've actually won, you have technically won a major world class event with characters that do not fit that style. I think that's really going to help you going into Injustice 2, because you've shown yourself that you don't need that kind of like cookie cutter same way of playing in all the characters you play, right? I feel like that's just going to really help you moving on forward, and I feel like that's a valuable lesson that anyone watching that might be going into Injustice 2. I kind of feel that's something you need to really accept, right? Don't get too attached to one style of character. Try and be versatile, try and be broad, because I think you yourself are a perfect example of someone that has stuck to a game plan before, but has not, been defined by it and has actually had success beyond that.
Yes, yes, definitely. And playing, different characters and different play styles like that, I feel like it really broadens how you view things, and it kind of helps you just get better at the game in general. So for Injustice 2, I already have really, really, good different styles already that I know how to do. So like Katana, she was zoning. I'll be able to understand zoning a little bit more. Uh, for Rushdown characters, Alien Tanya, I'll be able to understand Rushdown more. And you got space control and neutral and footsies with Shinnok. Or you can call them footsies, auto footsies.
They count.
But
They count.
yeah, yeah, they count. But there's just all these different things that I think will really help me for when Injustice 2 comes around.
All right, wonderful. I think that just about wrapped things up. Before I let you go, the tried and true question: are there any shout outs? Is there anyone you want to give thanks or shout outs to while you are here?
Mm. Oh yeah, definitely. There's obviously Noble, my sponsor. They have been amazing ever since I got picked up with them. They help me with so many things. They're awesome people. There's awesome players, on there that everyone knows and loves. So just shout outs to them for everything that they do, and also shout outs to my fans and just anyone who might not be my fan, but who just enjoys
Shout
playing the
outs to all
game.
the haters.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Shouts to
But
all of you haters out there that may or may not
yeah,
be
shout
watching.
out to all the haters. You guys do so much for me. No, but yeah, just shout out to everyone who supports the game, who goes out to tournaments. This whole thing wouldn't be there, without them, and we wouldn't even, be having this interview right now. So, and shout outs to NetherRealm Studios for creating the game and creating all these amazing things and supporting the community the way they do. It's just awesome. I'm so glad I got into this, into fighting games and the community. Everything is just awesome. So I'm glad that I did all this.
Hey man, I'm excited to see what the rest of the year brings to you for sure, especially with just simply how far you've come from day one to now. It really has been really incredible. And best of luck in the future, and thanks again for coming on. That does
for sure.
about
Thank you.
finish things up here. So thanks again,
Great.
much appreciated. Is there anything you want to say before we end up?
Just thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. I'll always, if you ever want to do anything, I'll always be here. So
Hey man, much appreciated. You've been great.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. And thanks to you guys at home that may have watched this. Best of luck in the future, Dragon. Thanks to you watching at home. Have a good evening, and we will catch you next time.